How Beyond Scared Straight failed to prevent kids from becoming criminals. Uh-oh, criminals! I think it's just because they probably didn't do it right.
Beyond Scared Straight is easily one of the most controversial shows in history. Parents of troubled youth pay for their children to tour the inside of a prison or county jail so they can be exposed to the dark reality of life behind bars. When they arrive, they meet with real inmates who strike fear into them with threats, with the goal being to prevent today's teen.
I saw one of the episodes where they just yell at them. It's scary.
Teenagers from becoming tomorrow's prisoners, but their exposure therapy techniques are definitely questionable.
What the f wrong with you, dog?
Oh my God!
You are starting in the wrong way.
This Kool-Aid, we put this on just like you. Lick your lips. Now stick your hand in that Kool-Aid.
What?
Just stick it in there. Now take your finger, just do this to the bottom one. Come here. Now I kiss you, you orange flavor mother.
That's so cringe.
That's the you ready?
Kiss me on my hot mouth.
Man, you a hard. You want to hold? There you go. You want to do? Try me. Try me. Yeah, try me. I want you to try me. I want you to try me. Try.
Now, there's no doubt that the show is entertaining and has given.
Yeah, sure, but I mean, it's pretty fucking cringe.
Given us some pretty hilarious moments over the years. However, our entertainment is at the expense of children's suffering. And the craziest part is, it has been proven on multiple occasions that Scared Straight doesn't work. In fact, it might actually increase their chances of becoming lifelong criminals. A lot of people don't realize that Scared Straight is not just a television show on A&E. It's a program that has been implemented all over the United States for the past 50 years. And the reason it got so popular was based on just one alleged successful experiment. Scared Straight was the name of a television documentary released in 1978, produced by Arnold Shapiro. It was critically acclaimed, won an Academy Award, and even won
1979 informational program.
An Emmy.
What?
They're gonna put lipstick on your lips, earrings in your ear, and have you swishing your ass up and down these tears, hustling cigarettes for your man.
What did I say? What did I say, mother? You're here for 2 hours. You belong to us for 2 hours.
The film documented youth offenders who visited Rahway State Prison in New Jersey. They met with inmates with the goal of being so scared of going to prison that they went on to live a straight or crime-free life. The documentary claimed that 80 to 90%.
I always thought it was so cringe that they lifted up the kids and like started violently yelling at them. I saw a few clips here and there on Twitter, and I always thought it made me feel really uncomfortable.
Percent of the 8,000 children who visited Rahway's program would go on to remain law-abiding citizens afterwards.
Yeah.
The popularity and surprisingly positive results led to more than 30 states rapidly implementing the program. No further questions were asked. Jails and prisons all over the country saw one documentary and thought they had a solution to all of their youth offender problems. The program's validity was immediately questioned by juvenile delinquency professionals, but that didn't stop it from becoming popular. The original documentary was followed by Scared Straight, Another Story in 1980, also produced by Arnold Shapiro. This one was just
by the same person?
Just a dramatic film. The subjects were actors who did scripted reenactments of their petty crimes, which led them to entering the Scared Straight program, being screamed at, and then feeling reformed after a couple overnights in the prison. Then in 1987, Scared Straight, 10 years later, aired.
I'll be your host for Scared Straight 10 years
Is that Whoopi Goldberg?
later. A fascinating update on what's happened to the kids and the convicts filmed a decade ago.
What I steal, I need, and I want.
It's embarrassing. 10 years ago, yeah, I did that. I did that to look good. Now the difference is I want to look good, but I like to pay for what I take.
We got to see the original 1978 crew, and they all explained how much the program changed their life for the better. The second half of the documentary introduced a new group of troubled teenagers. After their trip to Rahway State Prison, the documentary claimed that all 17 of the youth offenders were crime-free just 3 months after their visit. Then MTV connected with Shapiro for another sequel, Scared Straight 99. This documentary was potentially the most raw and shocking of them all. The prisoners were threatening these kids to levels we had never seen before.
And they just let him do that? Did they not have laws?
Inmate made a kid hold his pocket as he walked around the cell.
As a matter of fact, hold on to this mother. Hold on to my mother. White dog, you get killed, mother. And you walk with me, mother.
This was highly regarded as one of the best out of the series, and people still genuinely believe this was an effective form of therapy for youth offenders, which makes sense when you consider the societal standard during this time period. Mental health issues.
But you're doing this to children. I don't have kids, but I feel like it's just kind of weird, man. I don't know how to feel about it. Give me a little bit. I don't know. This is so weird.
Issues that are widely known today had not been vigorously studied. Mental health as a whole wasn't taken as seriously as it is now. Plus, it was a lot more common for parents to use tough love and physical punishment to discipline their children. These programs were seen as an extremely cheap and convenient solution to a very complex problem that is juvenile delinquency. But where Scared Straight received renowned media attention was when they released their 20 years later special. They claimed that of the 17 original 1978 children, only one of them became a career criminal. The 95% success rate shocked news publications. Scared Straight was a miracle solution. They used 17.
I don't think that a program talking to children about not doing what they did is a bad thing, but like yelling and picking them up and scaring the shit out of them. Yeah, and then you're making money off of them getting yelled at. Like, I'll admit it, I laughed at these clips too, but at the same time, I'm thinking like to myself, like, if I saw this, if I had a child and that I had this happening and then it's just like yelling at them and like picking them up, I don't know if I'd be okay with it. At least I don't think I would.
People's stories for 20 years to justify this entire program around the United States. But the popular A&E series you all know and love didn't come until
Kids are like puppies and the screaming is a shock collar? Holy fuck, what a low IQ take.
2011 and was produced by the same man.
I hope you don't have children, because holy fuck, that is dumb.
Arnold Shapiro. But first, a quick word from our sponsor, Underdog Fantasy. I want to tell you about the easiest way to get in on some NBA action with Underdog Fantasy and their Pick'em game. Just find your favorite player, or any player really, pick higher or lower on that player's stats, and you can win up to 20 times your money in one night. Underdog keeps everything super simple with their intuitive website and their mobile app. Pick between 2 to 5 players to fill your Pick'em entry, get every pick right, and you can net yourself some serious cash. Use code PatrickCC and get your deposit doubled up to $100 by Underdog. Underdog Fantasy is available in many states across the US. Check this map to see if you are in one of the eligible states. Again, download the Underdog Fantasy app, use code PatrickCC, and get those picks in. Thanks, Underdog Fantasy.
I have to kind of like, when I saw DARE and anti-drug propaganda in my schools, I don't think it worked at all. I don't know. It just never, like, yeah, DARE was so, like, weird, and it was just funny. Like, what, I always thought to myself, like, damn, drugs must be pretty cool if yeah, this is your brain on drugs. Looking at the eggs, and you're just like, damn, drugs must be pretty cool. Because you're dumb, you don't get it.
So by the
You're a
time
little
most of us
kid.
became aware of Scared Straight, it had already been a well-seasoned program all over the United States for 30 plus years. Beyond Scared Straight was a TV show that documented the experiences of troubled children as they embarked on a forced tour of a maximum security prison or jail. During the
she's
tours,
crying,
inmates
man.
and officers would go to the greatest lengths,
Bro, they're picking this kid up, man.
screaming, locking them in cells, putting lipstick on them, roughing them up, anything they could do to shock the children and make them terrified of going to prison in hopes that it would steer them clear of a life of crime.
What's up? You like to fight, homie? That's what you like to do, huh? You little bitch. You's a bitch, homie. You's a Pop-Tart. I see right through you, homie.
You better not stop. You better.
You hard, man. You a hard. You want to do hard?
There you go. You want to do? Try me.
Bro.
Smirk at me.
He says he don't know.
And police officers too. Police officers too?
Oh, you can't speak up, can you?
Are you
Why
smirking
can't you
at
speak
me?
up?
Fact, bitch, you hold this. You drop it, I'll smack out of you. I don't give a about going.
This was the most staggering and horrific Scared Straight program we had ever seen, and people loved it. The show's premiere alone attracted a staggering 3.7 million viewers, making it the most watched original series debut in the network's history.
Yeah, of course, because it was entertaining. Again, gladiators back in the gladiatorial days. It was entertaining, even though people were getting hurt and it was violent. Yeah.
Undeniable success of Beyond Scared Straight led them to producing 83 episodes across 9 seasons, spanning from
Oh, my
2011
package!
until
That's right.
2015. But the most eye-opening realization about this show is that the Scared Straight program was proven by the federal government not to work. Since the release of the original
God.
film, many justice institutions and criminal prevention professionals have thoroughly
I have to put myself in a kid's shoes. I'm like a petty theft criminal. I've been stealing. I'm a little girl and I get sent to this. And I just have a bunch of adults yelling at me. I think I would have PTSD and I would not want to trust adults. I feel like that would be my psychology. It's like I'm role playing in my head and I go out there and like you get scared and you don't want to trust them and you just that I can't even imagine getting picked up and like thrown around.
studied the effects of the program to determine if it actually works. Surprisingly, numerous studies have shown that the Scared Straight method can
You won't get sent to that for shoplifting though? Yes, you will. I literally saw it. There was a woman in here that said she was a shoplifter. You're wrong. They do it for petty crimes. Like fighting and like thievery when you're young.
actually do more harm than good. The most significant study was conducted by the US Department of Justice after the release of the original film. They examined the outcomes of 9 controlled trials conducted from 1967 to 1992. This involved over 900 children, with the average age of 15 to 17, who participated in Scared Straight-like programs in 8 different states. Also, each study was conducted by a different research team. Every one of these studies also had a control group that did not attend a Scared Straight program. So they were comparing youth offenders who went to Scared Straight versus youth offenders who didn't attend one, and measured their likeliness to become a reoffender. The study found no evidence to support the effectiveness of Scared Straight.
But they still aired this shit and still popularized it.
In similar programs. In fact, all analysis showed that involvement in these programs increased measures of crime and delinquency. In nearly every one of the 9 studies, the group who went to Scared Straight had a higher rate of reoffense than the group who didn't go. After this comprehensive study was published, many others were conducted with different test subjects, different age groups, and different crimes. Many of the studies would produce very similar results. In 1997, University of Maryland researchers completed a report for Congress on the evidence for various crime prevention strategies. The researchers had no problem listing Scared Straight as one of the programs that doesn't work. To make
You still abused kids, man. And you made money off of it. Yes! Let's go! Profit above all!
Things worse, these programs could potentially violate federal law. In 2002, which was 9 years before the first A&E episode aired, the Office of Juvenile Justice and Delinquency Prevention in Washington informed all states that Scared Straight programs or similar programs may violate the separation requirement of the JJDP Act. According to the act, it is mandatory that juvenile offenders and non-offenders should not be detained or confined in any institution where they may have sight or sound contact with adult offenders. In short, it's illegal to have kids in jail with adults, which...
And they just picked them up and threw them around. Why didn't they find... So they let this all air. It was all fine. And now suddenly we're like, oopsie doopsies. I guess we did some oopsies.
Makes this clip even harder
This
to
is
watch.
bad.
A terrified 9-year-old boy dangled like a raw piece of meat in front
He's 9!
of a pack of prisoners. His crime, stealing pocket change from his mom and
Oh my god, I stole pocket change from my mom a couple of times to buy magazines. I did that! It's not like he killed someone, my god!
lying.
I think we can all agree that traumatizing a child to this degree for stealing pocket change is insane. Then filming it, editing it, and putting it out into the world is
And then making money off of this kid's suffering.
next level. One time they even showed these children a body and described to them what their parents would experience if they go to jail and die while on the inside. These programs
What
typically
the
break these
frick?
children down. They start crying, are mortified, and just want to go home. The sad part is their home life is probably rough as well. On the surface, the concept
Yeah.
behind these Scared Straight programs makes sense. Troubled kids are so afraid of prison that they change their ways to avoid such a dark future. However, there are multiple examples that say otherwise. Toby Keith Johnson was first featured on the show on season 3, episode 13. He was quiet and didn't show any emotion. The guards tried to break him down and make him feel bad about his choices, but he didn't budge. At the end, when the parents reunite with the children, Toby's mother didn't show up. 8 months later,
Oh, poor kid.
Toby was featured on the show again. This time, he was an inmate. He was incarcerated for allegations of assaulting his mom. He got out 2 years later on parole, but sadly, continued a life of crime. He was arrested multiple times on meth and gun charges, but the most recent one was the worst of them all. In August of 2020, he was arrested for imprisoning a 25-year-old woman and making threats of harm, with Johnson forcefully grabbing the victim by the throat, choking her, and violently throwing her to the ground. The aggression continued with it, even going as far as Toby threatening her with a knife. Law enforcement would report visible signs of bruising on the victim's neck. I think it's pretty obvious that Scared Straight had no positive effect on Toby whatsoever.
Yeah, and he didn't have parents. Like, in my opinion, one of the most important things you can give to a child is a parent. That is sad, man.
However, Franklin Morris made his premiere on A&E in 2012. At the time of filming, he was living in Baltimore with his mother, Dana. In an emotional episode, Dana revealed the extent of Franklin's school suspensions, stating that she couldn't even begin to give a precise number. Franklin himself shared a nonchalant attitude towards his mother's concern, saying,
My mother says I'm either going to end up dead or in jail. I really don't pay no mind.
At the young age of 14,
He's 14 and he's saying that? Yeah, I don't know. That's sad.
Franklin participated in the program, already having convictions for
Gambling!
gambling and vandalism. One of the incidents that landed Franklin a spot on the show saw Franklin and his friends wreak havoc in a store, knocking items off the shelves and vandalizing a local shop. Years after his time on the show, Franklin Morris became one of 3 teenagers who met a grim fate near a playground in North Baltimore. Alongside a 19-year-old and a 17-year-old, Franklin was found shot in the head and
Oh, that's so sad.
pronounced dead at the scene.
What I thought about going to the jail was, it really wasn't no big deal. The reset program, it didn't change me. It really don't feel no different.
Yeah, he's just being honest here, chat.
Since the majority of the show's participants were children at the time, it's hard to find the long-term results of their lives. However, based on what I found, it seems like a lot of them went on to live regular lives.
Yeah,
if you
just
search
keep going,
what happened
man.
to so-and-so from Beyond Scared Straight, most of what you find is clickbait leading you to an Instagram page of someone who we can't confirm was actually on the show. So if the program has been proven to be ineffective through various extensive studies across the past 30 years, why did they do a show about it? Well, that's because the
money.
guy who has built his entire career from this program, Arnold Shapiro, is fully convinced that this program is a good thing.
Money.
Shapiro says that all the extensive studies are totally irrelevant because
What an evil son of a bitch. I don't give a frick. It's irrelevant. Those kids are dumb anyway. They deserve it. That 9-year-old that I had put on public television for stealing his mom's pocket change and had a bunch of men throwing him around. Yeah, it's not my problem.
they were done from 1967 to 1999. He also said that only the academic community believes proper counseling for youth offenders works. If society
I hate humanity.
had the money or resources to do that, that would be great if every kid could have years of counseling, but it's not realistic.
Yeah, but you make little hand over fist and fuck these kids over and make it worse. Yeah, you live in your McMansion probably and make millions of dollars through royalties and, you know, having published this. Yeah, no, it's fine. You didn't donate any of that money back into the prison or like some sort of program. You did your job. You made money off of them.
It would be interesting if A&E used the millions of profits from the show to get these youth offenders counseling, since society doesn't have the money, right? Shapiro shrugs off the criticism of Scared Straight. There's every variation. It works for some, it doesn't work for some. But you can say that about any program that exists.
No shit, Sherlock. Drug rehabilitation works, but sometimes it doesn't work. Yes, that's kind of how it is, but at least it's drug rehabilitation. It's a program. Oh, Alcoholics Anonymous doesn't always work, but 90% of the time it doesn't. It helps people. I hate people like this. Just anything for money, anything for views, you know what I'm saying?
Shapiro thinks that as long as it works for some, then it justifies the program. And since the program exists, he is happy profiting off of it. Wait, he's
even saying that his program works, even though it doesn't. Oh, I wasn't even arguing that. I was arguing the other side of the coin. What a rat, dude. Yeah, my program works.
Openly admitted that the children they decide to be on the show are not the ones that they think will change, but rather the ones with the best personality. It really is based on their personalities and what happens with them. We didn't have any belief that Brandon T. from Michigan, who stood up to the officers and just kind of had a meltdown, would ever change. Even when the tour was over, he got thrown out, but we still picked him because it was so explosive, and we never saw anything like that before.
Yes, anything for views, yes!
Or since. Although, other kids have stood up to officers. It's amazing. When I went through high school or even college, you never thought you would disrespect a teacher or an authority figure, especially somebody in law enforcement. But these kids have no fear. It's crucial to question whether the pursuit of profits overshadows moral principles, as corporate interests often prioritize ratings and financial gain over the well-being of humans. But it makes it even worse when you consider that the people they're affecting are not consenting adults. These are children, and it's being brought—
Yeah, and their parents— Wait! But if that— So, for example, the kid with the teardrop tattoo that, like, strangled that woman, right? His mom consented to that. She's a bad parent. What if they don't have parents or like legal guardians that like care about them? So like How does that even work? Like, legally speaking.
Broadcasted to millions of people to watch them suffer. They are being told that this is genuine rehabilitation, and they don't really have a choice to participate. Occasionally, they rebel so much that they get kicked out of the jail, but most of the time, they are trapped with no escape. The truth is, everyone wants a quick and cheap solution to an extremely complicated and layered social problem that is juvenile delinquency. But hey, as long as it works sometimes, it's all good.
Yep.
Right?
Yep, so true. What the fuck? This made me hate everyone. The shit drives me insane. Anything for views, anything for money. That's free real estate, yeah. There's a clip of a Scared Straight episode where the guard tries to put a kid in a cell with a prisoner. The kid then said he couldn't because the door wasn't open all the way. I mean, I literally saw them throw a 9-year-old. I'm not surprised at all.